Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Today we're back with the Wood Elves. You can see Orion valiantly charging across the field for freedom, going to be taking on the Foul Warriors of Chaos. So let's get to the army compositions. Orion, of course, going to be leading the way for the Wood Elves here. He is unbreakable. We've cut all his abilities except for Cloak of Isha and Horn of the Wild Hunt. Horn of the Wild Hunt, of course, very powerful, speed and charge bonus map-wide. And Cloak of Isha just to help keep him alive. We've also got 4 units of Eternal Guards, 3 with shields, 1 without. A Spellsinger Lore of Life on a horse here. She's currently taking advantage of that sweet Blessing of the Ancients, which gives her magic recharge when she's in the woods. We've also got 2 Forest Dragons. These guys are pretty good against Chaos. One of your few kind of heavy-hitting armor-piercing units. They do have good charge bonus, magic attacks, poison as well, which is always nice. Only 50 armor, but they do have 20% physical resistance, which is pretty decent. We've also got the Regiment of Renown Wild Riders, the Wild Hunters of Kurnos here, looking awesome on their reindeers. And oh man, what's that reindeer doing? Like sniffing himself on the side. That's interesting. We've also got 2 units of Sisters of Thorn to round out the mobile force. That's pretty much it for me. For my opponent, he's got Chaos Marauders as his main line. Over here on this side, Swords of Chaos, escorting their leader, Archaon the Ever-Chosen, along with another unit of Chaos Knights with lances. Archaon looks like he's got a Flaming Sword of Ruin and the Burning Head, as well as both of his items and all his abilities, so very good stuff. We've also got a couple of Marauder Horse Masters over on the far side, so without further ado, let's get underway. Oh, of course, how could I forget, we also have the 2 Held Cannons, one of them being the Regiment of Renown Soul of Damnation. You can see them immediately popping off shots on the Sisters of Thorn, and this is a very good target for them. Number one, because Held Cannons do a pretty good job of hitting cavalry, I've found. Number 2, they actually do magic damage, so they will circumvent the physical resistance of the Sisters of Thorn. You can see Orion came forward. He did throw a javelin at the Held Cannons, but going to go ahead and pull back here. Of course, my opponent can't see my Eternal Guards as they are hidden in the woods here. Meanwhile, way over on the far side, this group of Sisters of Thorn going to drop that Curse of Onrayer and use their poison missile attacks to help drag down some Swordmasters here. Of course, they have heavy physical resistance and pretty good combat stats as well, so they will win the fight with Horse Masters, no problem. They're also going to use that Shield of Thorns to give themselves additional missile resistance, so those missiles from the Horse Masters will do next to nothing. Meanwhile, way over on this far side here, you can see we're going for a pitched engagement here. Orion, no holes barred, just full on charging in solo, and meanwhile the Sisters of Thorn going to be used to bog down the Swords of Chaos, since they're relatively low in number. We also put a regrowth on them to give them additional physical resistance, and so on. Unfortunately for me, my opponent did use, let's see, I believe he's Flaming Sword of Ruin looks like actually not hitting these Swords of Chaos. Oh, there it is. So now they have the magic damage to cut through the physical resistance. You can see the Sisters of Thorn definitely suffering there. Meanwhile, Orion is tanking the damage nicely, doing a bit of damage in return, but here comes the dragon. Going to go ahead and get a good rear charge here. I had already used one of the breaths, I think. Yeah, we had already used one of the breaths on the Soul of Damnation for this guy, so it's still on recharge at this point. Still comes down and does a ton of damage to the Chaos Knights here. Unfortunately, Archaon and the Chaos Knights are then going to turn around and just start to womp on it. But this has allowed Orion to pull back. A nice Burning Head going down for my opponent, catching one of my units of Eternal Guard, but thankfully the others are able to dodge it just barely, and we're going to get those Eternal Guard coming forward. My opponent pulling these Marauders around a little bit late here. I mean, he obviously just barely saw the Eternal Guard, but still, I have been able to create separation between his cavalry and his infantry support, so should be able to drag them down. Meanwhile, over here you can see the Horse Masters have been chased all the way to the edge of the map, and the Sisters of Thorn now going to come just eat their lunch. Just take their lunch money, you know, throw them down in the cafeteria and so on. Anyway, over here, the Chaos Knights are trying to make another push. We had brought over the Wild Hunters of Kurnos, who had finished off the Hell Cannons to rear charge the Swords of Chaos, who were getting dragged down. The Chaos Knights had managed to pull away and had looped around and then rear charged the Wild Hunters, but there's so many Eternal Guards here that it's going to be tough for the Chaos Knights to survive in any amount. So probably would have been better to just keep him back, but at this point you can see the balance power is already starting to tip. Archaon's a little bit isolated here. The Marauders are finally coming into the fight now, but Archaon going to get rear charged here by the Forest Dragon, take a couple hits there, and that does affect his leadership pretty badly. Thankfully, he's got the Crown of Domination, so he won't get terrified, but Orion, kind of content to throw javelins for now. Going to go ahead and go in after some of these other units in the center, and I've got enough heavy-hitting, terror-causing units that we should be able to terrify away these Marauders without too much issue, and once we can finish off Archaon, this should be pretty much GG at this point, but just kind of waiting. I've got the other dragon and the Sisters of Thorn coming back over, so we're going to unify everything together and try and finish this thing off. The Chaos Forces are getting a little bit low on leadership. There's a lot of Marauders here, though. You can see they're in this big blob, so looking like a perfect opportunity for some breath attacks. So there's one, and we're going to go ahead and follow up with another one, because why not? Just roast out a ton of those Marauders there. Archaon does drop a Flaming Sword of Ruin, but with both dragons charging down, with the Horn of the Wild Hunt active, putting them up to 82 charge bonus, the Sisters of Thorn charge in, the Wild Hunters, and the other Sisters going to go ahead and sandwich this far side unit of Marauders. And Archaon himself taking some hits to Orion means all this together is going to do enough shock damage to actually proc army losses for the Warriors of Chaos here. So, well played to my opponent. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that one. A pretty quick battle, but fun one nonetheless. It's nice to take a more melee-focused Wood Elf army rather than like a ranged focus. I mean, it's still, you know, with the breaths and with all the mobile units, I did have kind of a kite build. Not really, though. My intention was to play pretty headstrong with Orion and really try and get some good value out of that Horn of the Wild Hunt. I do think that that's a really good ability to have with some of the units you have access to with the Wood Elves. So ended up working out pretty well here. Orion took a lot of damage, but being the tank that he was able to survive there. The Sisters of Thorn definitely being key in both sides of the battlefield. On the one side, hunting down the Horse Masters single-handedly, more or less. I mean, they did have the dragon there to support a little bit, but more or less single-handedly. The other sisters were able to tie down the Swords of Chaos, you know, just kind of bait that unfavorable engagement there. The Wild Hunters of Kurnos able to clean up the 2 Hell Cannons and then come in and rear charge the Chaos Knights. And yeah, the Eternal Guards just kind of did their job of helping support. But the 2 dragons also got a lot of work done, obviously. 60 and 77, 2 XP chevrons for this guy, did some good work against the knights and so on. So fun stuff. For my opponent, Archaon, a pretty solid pick in this matchup, honestly. Not too bad at all. And I don't disagree with some of his other picks. The main ones I disagree with are the Swords of Chaos. I just don't think they're very good right now, unfortunately. They're low model count, they're kind of squishy for their price, and they just tend not to pay off, I find, for how expensive they are. They do give you AP and flaming damage, so, you know, if the Wood Elves happen to bring a tree, these guys will beat the crap out of it in a big hurry, but they're just such a squishy unit that can get taken down by ranged fire pretty easily as well, so not the biggest fan there. And I do think that the 2 Hell Cannons was a bit of an overinvestment. You probably just want to bring the 1, and I would recommend taking the Soul of Damnation because it's full chevrons for a bit cheaper, being a Regiment of Renown, so it will have that extra accuracy and so on. So yeah, let's go ahead and just go to the post-battle screen and kind of talk about how I would personally fine-tune that build. So if we go ahead and go over here, I might actually honestly just take Archaon on the ground to help save some money, and the Burning Head's not a bad idea. Flaming Sword of Ruin also not a bad idea, so we'll go ahead and have the same spell loadout, and we're going to take both the items as well. But again, we're going to take them on the foot to save on some cost here, and I'll take 3 Marauders, and we're going to trade 2 of them out for Chosen, Shielded Chosen specifically. These guys have a 60% missile block chance, and they'll go to Pound Town on pretty much any Wood Elf infantry, no problem, except for Wildwood Rangers. They won't. I'd have to test. It's been a while since I've tested. I think they trade okay against Wildwood Rangers, but it's probably not great. Pretty much any other Wood Elf infantry, though, the Chosen will beat through. And having the heavy missile block chance, they can shrug off plenty of missile fire. We're also going to grab the Soul of Damnation. I do like that pick. It kind of pressures your opponent a little bit there. The Marauder Horse Masters, I think, because of the Wood Elves' mobility, rather than over-investing here, we're going to just go a bit cheaper and grab some horsemen to kind of pressure a little bit. Maybe worth supporting them with some hounds as well, so we can potentially chase down some skirmishers, and then instead of taking the Swords of Chaos, I'm going to just take 2 Chaos Knights with lances. So these guys, I mean, obviously they have heavy charge bonus. If we look at the Swords of Chaos here, they have less HP and less unit models, which is their main downside. Their combat stats are better, and they have better weapon strength. Not by much, though, and their charge bonus is also significantly less. So the main thing is the lack of unit models. Compared to a full 45, having only 18 unit models is pretty poor. I honestly think that the Swords of Chaos would be better off if they were increased to 24 unit models like the Demigryph Knights have. I honestly think that a lot of the Monstrous Cavalry would be better, but that's a discussion for another day. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed watching this one. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Yeah, thanks again for watching. We'll see you next time.